Welcome back to 33 Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Michael Abney, and today I'm joined by Korede, founder of Echo Oscar Inc. I love that name. Can't wait to figure out where that came from. But your work is at the intersection of collaboration, process design, and AI change management. You help organizations close that gap between their talent and alignment. Welcome to the pod. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having me, Michael.
It is my pleasure. When we had our pre-call, what stuck out to me was that I could just get when you are listening and you're talking about collaboration, I felt your passion inside that conversation. And I did not hear someone who was focused on efficiency. I heard someone who has watched and observed talented people struggle inside systems that don't quite align with how humans behave. I find that so fascinating, taking it from that place of, you're here, you're working, you're an asset to the company, but your take on it was totally different. And I'm like an advocate that we all discover that human beings are the true value. And you brought that. And with the age of AI, had all of this beautiful mix. I knew we would have an amazing conversation. So your work is in AI change management. You design processes and you optimize workflows. But underneath all of that, you're just studying human behavior, which I am completely always fascinated. So thank you. Thank you for being here. What transformation are you right in the middle of?
All right. Thank you for having me once again. That's a very huge question because it involves a lot of aspects of what we do, not only what we do internally, but what we do with our clients. Because as much as we have our philosophies about how things should go based on our interaction with different clients over the years, we also need to respond to the need or to the sentiment of the stakeholders we deal with. So the stakeholders could be the management of our clients, could be the front facing employees, everyone that we work with. So we need to strike that balance. That's the space we are, making sure that we don't lose focus of our philosophy, which, like I said, it's not founded on some moral ideal. It is founded on our interactions with our clients, our experiences as individuals and as organization. So to make sure that that philosophy does not lose its space, its identity, while also catering to the needs of our clients.
Yeah, you're doing a dance on the bridge, right? And it requires like being present. Like, what do you do to keep yourself present because that is the thing, is like learning that. And I believe it's a skill set that is developed sort of like going to the gym about, back in the day, it was planning and execution and it was like everything was outside of ourselves. I used to remember planning the whole year. And it seems like a joke now, but it's more about like learning that skill of what it is. Like, you're clear on what that is, which is incredible. You're clear on the clients that you're serving, and yet you're in the middle dancing and making sure that none of these things gets off of kilter and off balance. What
Absolutely.
have you noticed when you're building out Echo Oscar? Personally, where are you feeling that tension in the structure and identity as you do this dance?
So what we feel is organizations, or most organizations, want the answers to their questions almost immediately. They also want quality delivery. So there must be a strike. We must strike a balance between the two, such that we're giving the clients what they want as much as you want to, because the services we render are not something that you can immediately see the result of. It takes some time for transformation. It takes some time for people to change their ways of doing things, because that's the core of our value. We want to make sure that people collaborate well together and everybody is succeeding, while also making sure that organizations also succeed based on their strategic goals. So that's where we're operating, to make sure that we reach the people as much, as well as we make sure that the organization goals, usually, of course, in revenue or reducing cost, as the case may be, is achieved.
Yeah. It's almost like enrolling them on the journey of what it is that you're doing and that collaboration that you're building with them, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's dive into that word collaboration because a lot of people have that misconstrued as I want X and you deliver X and not allowing each person to have that space to have that collaboration actually work. When did you first realize that collaboration was that first real bottleneck and what did you do to solve that? Or you could be still in the process of it too, but does that make sense to you? Like what's that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely does. So as a project manager myself, I've been in project management since 2009, 2010. And I've interacted with a lot of, teams and clients. And I see this happen a lot of times that the system is great. However, some just don't understand the system the same way others understand the system. And there's often that friction, and I've seen it across many industries, and I've seen it. It doesn't matter how big or small the organization is. I've seen it across maturity stage organization, growth stage organization, startups. It happens everywhere that people do not collaborate well together, and not because they don't want to do that, but because the demands of the business, the demands of the work they're doing, kind of overshadow the need for that collaboration. Ironically, to achieve what we want to achieve, it is collaboration that we need. It's the lever on top of which everything, grows. So, so I've always seen that. And sometime in 2024, we did a survey, a Canada-wide survey, and we surveyed employees. And a major part of the response from employees as regards which area of the process would people like to see improvement in was in collaboration and training. It wasn't a surprise for me, but it was a delight to see that what I've always seen as a need for most organizations actually could come, to the front burner for me, and I could see it right in front of my eyes that people are actually
Wow.
yearning for this. People want to work better together, and the fundamental thing to make collaboration work is first and foremost a shared vision. Sometimes, and for people to have shared vision, before I go to that, for people to have shared vision, there must be repeated communication about that particular vision. It could be a vision, organizational vision, it could be a project vision, but people need to continue to communicate. And of course, it should have a feedback loop as well. Communicate the vision and receive feedback as regards how people are receiving the vision and
Yeah.
review as the case may be. That's the way. That's the first thing. There are many other areas that would help collaboration, but that's the first area that most teams miss or most organizations miss. I mean, you could even have it succeed within a team. What about the cross functional aspect of it?
What do you think that they're missing? Like I agree with you 1,000%, because everybody's got their own perception. Like
Exactly.
people really aren't really even seeing or hearing that vision. They're hearing their perception of that vision. And that takes that communication, that constant feedback loop. What is missing that they don't, and you know that, right? You get that. I can tell you get that. Yeah. But like what are they missing that helps you get that to that space faster? Like, do they ever resist it? Or, so many of us grew up in a space where you were told something once and that was it. And if you didn't get it, then there's a problem. And that problem is to you that you didn't get it. And like what you're bringing to the table is that desire that people actually do want to work together and want to collaborate and see that as the big picture, but also having that this is how we're going to get here. Like basically what I'm wanting is like, do they realize that they got to let go of that to have this be real in the world?
Michael, what is missing is the what is in it for me. Every
Say that again. Say that
the
again. I want to hear you.
what is in it for me. People want to know what is
What's
in
yeah.
it for. So if we don't communicate that, if we don't find that out and communicate it, okay, this is how this affects you, and this is what you stand to gain out of it. This is how it affects your KPI. This is how it affects your career. This is how it makes you more fulfilled. You get what I mean? Even as much
Mhm.
as this is the impact of the data you have worked on for us. Without you doing this for us, we cannot even migrate. Therefore, our clients cannot serve their clients. This is how important your work is to this project. So oftentimes we don't seek to find that out, and we don't seek to communicate it and continually, repeatedly, communicate it. And like I said, the feedback loop of everything is very important as well. So people don't often have that. And when you don't have that, there is no trust. So when I don't trust you, I'm not able to reach out to you to want to collaborate better. I want to protect myself because I want
Yeah.
the promotion. You get what I mean? I want to protect myself. And how am I
Yeah.
sure that what I'm doing is going to be considered in my KPI? So
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
major missing.
Wow. So it's really like you're creating the systems that actually could shape their behavior versus, well, all systems shapes behaviors, but like you're that's at a root level. So that has to do with identity, how the company sees himself, how everyone inside of that sees the hierarchy of all of that. That's a lot of energy. How do you manage that? I mean, that's a lot of that could get really icky really quick.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, because you're tapping in. I mean, you're knocking on ego's door, like right there. You're knocking on ego's door.
yes,
How do
absolutely.
how do you keep your own ego in check and not get hooked by that?
You see, people, there are different motivations for people, but some motivations for people are just being seen, being respected, seeing their job, is being acknowledged. For some people, it could be money. For a lot of people, it's money as well, right? But all of the motivations that we have are somehow tied to us working together, are somehow tied to us succeeding together. No matter how smart I think I am, there are many things I cannot do that only another team member can do for me. And if they don't do their part, I can only complain. I don't succeed as well. So when it's time to do an assessment of all of our work, nobody's going to say
Yeah,
I did, but because I wasn't able to meet, my deliverable timeline or cost, whatever we're judging
yeah,
it. So we all come together to help one another. Now, when there is that psychologically safe environment where we can all feel like we are working as a team, both within a team and cross functionally, everybody is happy. Everybody is eager to want to help everybody. It's like being in the military. When you feel like somebody is there to protect you, even when you've lost your consciousness. You can go all out to do everything. That's camaraderie is what most teams need to be able to have that fulfillment for organizations to also increase their revenue if that's the goal of the organization. And of course, everybody is happy. So
yeah,
is and for every process optimization, every digital transformation, that is very critical. Without it, you would find that some people might be dropping the ball. When your team member keeps dropping the ball over time, it has a way of discouraging you.
yeah.
And but
Especially when
if
it's
you
not addressed.
yes, exactly. So if you help them and they help you back, it's a cycle. Everybody is more efficient at what they do, and it helps you to also continue to review your processes and get better as time goes on, because markets will change, regulations will change, there will be new ways of doing things in the next 10 years. We never knew Gen AI was going to be this big in the some 6 10
Yeah,
years ago. Look at how we're now doing things as a result of Gen AI. So things will change. So there's always need for process improvement. It will always happen. However, how we coordinate that, how we collaborate together to bring it to life is what makes a difference.
do you find that the leaders that you're working with and the companies that you're working with, are they open and receptive to this? Like your take on it?
It's neither here nor there, but however, we recognize that it's part of our responsibility to communicate to them, to educate where necessary. But like I sort of mentioned earlier, most organizations want the result like almost now. So you have
Yeah,
to, yes, that's a challenge you get, but they also recognize the need that a lot of organizations are now seeing the need for change management, which is beyond just deploying a new application, is ensuring that people do adopt it, people do use it. And then that's when you can have the realization of the benefit for which the project was initiated.
So I'm curious about the name. I love the name. Did it come from a specific space, or like how did you get that? How did it come to
It
you?
is the first time I'm being asked this question on a podcast. It's actually the first two letters of somebody very dear to me, my daughter. So, Angel Oluduro, yes. Echo
Okay.
Oscar, yes.
Okay. I love it. And then the Echo Oscar. Echo Oscar. Okay, I
Yeah,
get it.
there
Okay.
you go.
Okay. I'm with you now. Okay, so every time that you say that, that's reminding you of your probably your why.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's part of it, yes.
Yeah. But an instant connection to the feeling, because at the end of the day, that's really what this you're sharing embodiment and how to feel the thing. Well, the vision is one thing conceptually, but it's another thing to feel the vision and feel the vision collectively. So I feel you. I get
Okay,
what you're
I
doing.
must say this. So, I've had a couple of businesses in the past. Since my university days, I've had businesses. I've had, of course, there have been failures. But when I started this, I said, I'm going to give it all it takes. It doesn't matter if it's going to take 6 months, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. I'm going to stick with this. So I see it as the baby I cannot let go of. This is it. All my life I've worked, I've seen this. I've always yearned to improve my teams wherever I work. So this is it. It feels more like a calling to me, and it's so dear to my heart, just like my daughter is dear to my heart.
I get you, the whole thing, just with that. Even though I don't know about the AI or any of the parts that go along with it, I know that that is a part of what you do to I use AI in my life too. I couldn't do the podcast without it. And like I think I shared with you about that. It's about understanding it in a different way. And I'm still learning. I'm 2 years into it, and I'm starting to understand it's not about the questions. It's more about the structure or the overarching view of what it is I'm trying to the output that I'm trying to get, and
Exactly.
becoming clear on that, and versus just asking random questions. But
Yes.
uh,
Aligning the AI to what you want to achieve. Yes.
what do you think leaders are misunderstanding about AI in general?
Wow. I would say that a lot of leaders are very much educated about AI now. A lot of leaders see the need for it and they're embracing it. The area that needs some improvement is in the area of change management. AI is a tool, it cannot replace humans. People still need to use AI. People need to train AI. People need to align AI to certain ethics and values of humans or of an organization. And that will only come when people work together, when people use the AI and continue to interact with it well, and when teams and individuals are almost on the same page as to why and how we should use AI. Oh, so that's one area that I see there is need for improvement, which is why we focus on AI change management. And we've seen a lot of acceptance across organizations, with AI change management. Is one thing to implement it, but it's another thing for you to guide the team to so that you can realize the benefit of the system.
Is there any fear that you still can detect with folks? Like any, fear's just like the unknown. Is there any space in what you're doing that you still sense a fear that in that space in what you're doing?
And well, that I sense of fear. I didn't get a question, please. Can you
Yes,
rephrase?
absolutely. Do you sense, or is there any fear left from people that you're working with? You said people are accepting of it, they understand it, or starting to understand it more. Is there any space with them that fear's still there, or you still have to deal with that?
I think we all are concerned about artificial general intelligence,
Yeah.
which is the possibility of AI outsmarting us. And I believe it's all our responsibilities to ensure that we manage it both as individuals and as governments, to make sure that we don't get to the point where AI, becomes the enemy of humans. And there have been some case studies that have shown that sometimes a particular AI model, could be sentimental to itself, such that it could protect itself against, for
Yeah.
instance, being kicked out of an organization for
Yeah.
another AI.
Yeah.
So that's an area that everyone has to be careful about.
I lead a group on Wednesdays. It's called the Practical Philosophy Club. It's actually founded by a past guest on the podcast. And I love the idea so much. I started a chapter here in St. Louis. And last night the topic was AI. And it was really, really interesting that, there was different ages in our group. It was a smaller group, but it was still had like older people in it, people like me that were using it for a specific reason. And even somebody in the coffee shop last night heard us and she like leaned over, at the beginning, she's like, "Can I join you?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." And so the whole thing is just to listen for people's perspectives, and it's not a right or wrong thing. It's just like to share the perspectives so that it opens the door to higher understanding. And so her take, like she brought the environmental aspects. The older person or older people in the group were like, just general fear of it. And that came up too about the guy that's using a lot about what happens when, you know, generalize or what do they call it?
Artificial general intelligence.
Yeah, when it just like thinks for itself. So yeah, that whole thing. But my take on it was that everything in our universe really at the end of the day is a mirror of where we're all at. And last night in that conversation, I was able to see for the first time that, like what I've been doing in my life for the past like 30 years, helping people with, you know, energy breakthroughs, understanding that space we all go through whenever life is calling us to something bigger than that we see ourselves in. The breakdown of what is in our life that's in the way has to go. And that experience is traumatic. Doesn't have to be, but it is. And for most people, when they don't have an understanding of what's happening. And last night I saw like, my God, what if that was the thing that, if it's coming together to create its own communities, like that's really what's happening with us. And I saw that reflection just for a brief moment, but I did see that last night. Like, if that's true, and everything is a mirror. Like I've never seen that not be the case. I may not want to look at it or own it, but like at the end of the day, that's really what that is. I just am curious from your own, not connected to your own business, but just you as a human being. What are you excited about in what your life?
Not as a business. What am
Just
I?
it's all connected. It's all life, but like your energy is profound, like what you exude. I'm just curious about your I hate to even use the word positive outlook, but like your your energy. What is it mirroring back to you? That's the question. What's life mirroring back to you that wasn't mirroring back to you before you made that this is going to happen no matter if it takes 6 days, 6 months or 6 years, whatever it is. How is your life mirroring back to you differently?
Excuse me. What is mirroring back to me as I grow old? Well, I'm a young man. I see that life is meant to be lived and enjoyed, doing what you love to do. There are some times and not worry so much about the future. For most part of my life, I worried a lot about the future, but now I'm taking it slow. That it's about the meaningfulness of life at the current state, and live it, and let your energy, let your light shine where you are now. Of course, you're planning for the future, but do not let the future hold you back on achieving, on living today rather than just existing.
It's an interesting take, isn't it? Like, yeah, you were chasing before, and then when you actually committed, like put both feet in, it shifts you, slows you down, and makes you in. I find that same thing happening to me,
Yeah.
that the chasing has like ended and it's like, no, I want to enjoy this full moment. And like, I recently am helping a friend out with like something that they're building inside of AI. And is like an audit of life. And it's amazing, like what I'm discovering about that space of like the stories we tell ourselves about running out of time
Mhm.
and how that affects so much of the experience of life. Because when you're doing like that, you're not experiencing the only thing that really ever exists in the universe, and that's now.
Yeah.
And it's not the concept of it, it's the story that rattles around in our head about it. And I have like that was a couple 3 weeks ago, and I've experienced a new level of peace I've not experienced in my life so far. I've also had a couple of things that came out of the blue that were just felt so raw, rooted, core. It was just like an old belief that showed up instantly, that because it was no longer in alignment with that awareness that you just shared that I'm experiencing too. So like, yeah, we live in such an amazing freaking time, like having all of these things colliding in our space at the same time. And then you're
Yes.
using it to help people grow and keep their businesses evolving too. Because it's another aspect of what's happening on the planet right now that a lot of people don't really say out loud, and that it's how we commerce, how we do business with each other is changing at just as fast as rate as everything else because of that mirror syndrome. And
Absolutely.
did they ever talk to you about the
They,
quickness, the people that you work with?
well, sometimes it depends on the relationship you're able to establish. And yes,
Who are you becoming in all of this?
I would say I am becoming someone who sees life as an experience, and an experience that must have its ups and downs. And what makes it a beautiful experience is the mistakes we make and the successes we achieve, the silly things we do sometimes. They all come together to be who we are. And no one is better human than anyone. We're all living to be better than we were yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you for sharing your humanness and all of the tech conversations and like what you're up to, which is extraordinary. It's a massive lift and you're like doing it. It's really, really cool to experience your take on that and sharing it with us today. So
Thank you
thank
so
you for
much.
that. It's my pleasure. Are you ready for your closing question?
Please.
So this is a little bit different than I normally ask, but I'm just so it's sharing your experience. Normally, it's like giving some sort of advice back to people that are listening, but today's yours was different. So this is gonna be fun. When you introduce a new system in your organization, what behaviors are you unconsciously rewarding?
I believe it's collaboration. How well you are able to. So we sort of have frameworks that bring people together
Hmm.
to work in the adoption of a new system, so that you
Okay.
run it with that in your at the back of your mind that you're not going to do it alone, and you also know that there's other people that are already accepting the new system with you. That way, it helps you to also do your own part. You're a piece in the puzzle. So that's what we
Yes.
just, yes,
Yes. Yes, it is a piece of the puzzle. That's what I am discovering with the people that I talk to that, had the corporate gig and then, oops, they don't have the corporate gig anymore. And they have this spark inside of them to start their own business. That's actually the foundation of why I'm doing this season of the podcast, is because I want to give people a place to space to listen and hear the experiences of other people doing the same thing,
yes,
because it's such a scary identity shift. And I believe if we talk through that and communicate and collaborate just by
yeah,
listening, you get to, it's like he did it, we can do it, I can do it, like that. And so that is that is dead on. So thank you for
absolutely.
sharing it with us and just
Thank you so
being
much.
here. Yeah. Awesome. Well, today, fascinating conversation. Wow. I love these. I love these. I love these 33 conversations.
Yes, it went so fast.
I know it. So I just leave everybody with that: systems don't fail because they're poorly designed. They fail when we forget that humans reshape everything that we're building. And maybe today is the day to reshape your relationship with yourself by having a new conversation with yourself, the new one that you're becoming. There's no right way to do it. It's just one conscious choice at a time. And with that, we will see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.